Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. This is my October wrap up. So if you've been following along for the past few weeks, I have been really busy. I've been out of my reading zone because I've been moving house. I moved into this place at the beginning of October and to be honest, I was quite stressed. But I am actually back into my reading groove now. October dragged on for ages, but that was actually quite good because I managed to read 12 books. So I'm gonna tell you about them. I don't really know which ones to start with, so we're just gonna go in the order that I read them. So the first one that I read and finished was The Reckless Afterlife of Harriet Stoker, and I gave this one 3 stars. This is about a girl called Harriet Stoker who dies right at the beginning of the book. She's just started university, she's just moved out of home for the first time. She dies. So obviously that's not good. In this book, ghosts are trapped in whatever place they died in. That means that Harriet is stuck in this building as well as a few other ghosts. So she gets to know them. She figures out that the ghosts in this book sometimes also have powers and she wants to discover her power, and she also really wants to get back to her grandma. I didn't love this book. I would probably give it 2.5 stars in hindsight, but when I did read it I gave it 3, so I'm going to stick with 3. I really didn't like Harriet Stoker, and I think she's meant to have some character growth, so you're not meant to like her in the beginning because of the way she is, and then I think she's meant to grow on you, but I really wasn't a fan. And also a lot of these side characters were a bit too quirky for me. I'm really not a fan of the kind of bubbly, quirky personalities that some characters have, and a lot of these characters had that and I didn't really like it, so I gave this one 3 stars. And then with my friend Justine, I buddy read The Luminous Dead, which is adult sci-fi horror. This is about a woman called Gaia. I've actually done a full review of this, I'll leave it up above. It's about a woman called Gaia who is an experienced caver, and she is hired by someone called M to go down into the caves and complete a mission for her, and she don't know what that mission is to begin with, and then it slowly becomes apparent what M wants her to do. It's really creepy because it feels very claustrophobic. Also, Gaia feels like she's being followed through the caves, which again is super creepy. It was very atmospheric. I will say that it took a bit of a turn in the middle of the book and it didn't really go in the direction that I was expecting it to, and I feel like it had the potential to be a lot creepier, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I gave this one, what did I give it, 3.5, 4 stars, something like that. It's around that range. I did really enjoy the beginning, and then it did start to drag a little bit after it took that turn that I said it did. I would recommend reading this book though if you like sci-fi horror. There's not much science to it, to be honest. It's just on a planet. The caves are on a different planet, and the main character Gaia has a very like smart suit, but that's the extent of it really. I then read Exhalation by Ted Chiang, and this is a bunch of short stories. I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest. I didn't love it. I'm giving this one 3 stars. This is partly down to me because I'm not a fan of short stories anyway, but also some of them just felt a bit pointless. I'm giving this one 3 stars. I really enjoyed the first story in particular, which was the one about the time travel portal, and then also the story which was the longest one about the like pets. But other than that, I didn't really care for it. All of the stories have some sort of science fiction element to them, so if you're into short stories and you like science fiction, then maybe give this one a go, because I know a lot of people have really enjoyed his short stories. I then finished listening to Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, which is a non-fiction book. The author used to be a blogger, I think, and these essays may have been on her blog, and she's kind of just expanded upon them. And in this book, she's basically talking about her experience as a black person in Britain. She talks a bit about British history, so she did cover that a little bit, and then she went on to talk about current politics and experiences, and it was just really interesting, so I really enjoyed that. I gave it 4 stars just because it's not an all-time favourite, which is what I give 5 stars to. And then for my Space Sirens book club that I'm a part of, I read Incendiary. This is the advanced readers copy. This is YA fantasy. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it actually. So this is about a girl called Ren. When she was younger, she was taken in by the ruling kind of royal family, but not taken in a good way. She was kidnapped from the forest by the soldiers. So now she's an adult. She needs to get back into the palace because she has since escaped, in order to enact revenge upon the royal family for reasons. I actually really enjoyed this book. I don't think it's the most unique book, but it's definitely fast-paced, and you can tell that the author is, you know, an established author, and she is very practiced in what she does, because I was hooked pretty much from the start. I am a bit worried it's going to turn into a horrible love triangle in the sequels, which I'm not such a fan of, but I'm willing to carry on with this series. I did do a recap of this one up on Recaptains. I will be discussing this one more as well on the Space Sirens discussion, which is happening this Sunday, the 8th of November. I can't remember if that's Saturday or Sunday, to be honest, but one of the 2 days. It's happening this weekend. So if you're interested, I will leave a link below to the Space Sirens channel, and you can come and join us and you can hear all of our thoughts. I then read the Carrow Haunt, which is adult horror. This is set in a haunted house. So the main character, whose name I can't remember, she is a tour guide for a ghost tour, which is in in this haunted house, and one day one of the guests approaches her and says he wants to spend a few nights at this haunted house for reasons he doesn't really disclose, and he wants her to also stay there with him and be his guide, and he plans on bringing like a team of people in with him, like a medium and some like ghost hunters, I guess. So they get to the haunted house and they find out that it is actually haunted, and really creepy things start to happen. I'm gonna give this one 3.5 stars. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun to read about. I don't think it's the best horror book ever. In some parts it was kind of generic in that nothing surprising happened, but I did still really enjoy the book, and it was very creepy to read at night, so I would recommend reading it if you're in the mood for a spooky read. Then I finally finished The Way of Kings Part 2, which I was so behind on. I had 200 pages left at the beginning of the month, and I finished it. I'm not going to say what this is about. It's the second half of the first book in the Stormlight archives. It's split into 2 in the UK because the books are so big. I gave this half 5 stars. I gave the first half 4 stars. So overall I'm giving The Way of Kings 4.5 stars. I will be doing a full review on this book because I've got some things I want to talk about. I want to get in on the community, so you can look out for that this week. I did really enjoy this half of the book. It's a lot more action-packed than the first half, and it mostly focused on my favourite characters, which was good because I was starting to find Shallan really boring. Especially towards the end, this half focuses a lot more on Kaladin and Dalnar, who are a lot more interesting in my opinion. So like I said, I'll be doing a full review on this one. Stay tuned if you want to discuss this book with me. I then read The Turn of the Screw because I watched and adored The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is based on The Turn of the Screw. I didn't love this book. I thought that it was too ambiguous for me. So it's a very short story. It's just over 100 pages, at least my copy was, and it's about a nanny or a governess who goes to this place called Bly Manor. The children there are acting really strange, so it's like a haunted house possession type story. Like I said, it is all very vague and you have to read between the lines a lot, and it just wasn't my favourite. I didn't think it was a difficult read though for a classic, so that was good and I enjoyed it, so I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I then read Horrorstor, which was a really quick read. This one is about a woman who works at an like department store kind of thing, kind of like IKEA. She and a group of other employees have to spend the night there because they think someone has been breaking into the building. Turns out someone has been breaking into the building, but also really creepy things start to happen, so it's not just that, and it is more of a ghost story. I'm giving this one 3 stars. I didn't love it. I did really enjoy the unique format. It's kind of told as though it's a catalogue. These images here start to slowly get worse and worse, and when I noticed that happening I was actually quite impressed, but overall it's kind of just an average story about a group of employees, but it definitely kept me entertained the entire way through, so I did enjoy it. I'm giving it 3 stars. Then I read a debut book that isn't coming out until next year. It comes out on the 5th of January, and that is Happily Ever Afters. I received this one in exchange for an honest review. It's YA contemporary. A girl called Tessa who starts a new school. It's kind of a creative arts school, and she is going in because she wants to be a writer. She is a writer, but she wants to kind of hone in her craft, I guess. She meets a really cute guy called Simon who is a baker, but because she starts this school and she is really stressed, she actually gets into a writing slump or writer's block, and she can't write anymore. So she wants to, along with her best friends, kind of craft her own love story that will hopefully give her inspiration for her own writing. And I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It was really well written, had a lot of representation in it. So the main character is mixed race. Her friends are gay and also bisexual, and then her brother has cerebral palsy. And there are a lot of discussions about each thing, which I found really interesting. I really liked the disability rep in there. The author did a really good job of portraying that, I think. So I would highly recommend checking out this book when it comes out at the beginning of January. I know I read it a bit early, but I needed to send the author some interview questions because I will be interviewing her on my blog. Like I said, I thought this was really well written, really liked the main character, and I loved the friendships in it. I thought it was adorable and also quite intense at times, so I will be checking out any other books that the author comes out with in the future. I then read The Bone Houses, which I was buddy reading with Justine, but she couldn't keep up with me because I sped through this book. So I think this might be my favourite of the month. I gave it 4.5 stars. I can't quite decide. It's not an all-time favourite, but it was really good. So this is about a girl who is called Rin, and she lives in a really poor village with her brother and her sister and a goat. And this village is next to a forest in which dead people can rise from the dead, so it's kind of like zombies, except they're called bone houses. The bone houses start to act very differently. A new guy comes to town as well who is a map maker, and he manages to get lost, which is really bad for a map maker. So Rin agrees to show him the mountains, which is where he was trying to go when he accidentally came across this village. I'm tempted to do a full review on this book because there's a lot to talk about, but that's the basic plot. She has to guide him through the forest into the mountains because she wants to find out what the the bone houses are up to and why magic is acting differently. So I really enjoyed this one. It's really atmospheric. It has such lyrical writing, which I didn't mind, because normally I don't love that. It was so action-packed, I really didn't mind, and I ended up loving it. I really liked the relationship between the main character and the love interest. Although it's not my usual thing, it wasn't overbearing, and that was okay. And also there's a goat companion, which I think bumped this up from just a 4-star to a 4.5 for me, because I loved it. I cried over the goats so much. I would highly recommend picking this one up, especially during the spooky season, but I think you can enjoy it anytime, particularly in the winter. And then finally, the last book that I read was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. This is obviously a graphic novel about two friends who only really know each other from work. They work at a pumpkin patch, and this is their last year, and they're both really sad that it's coming to an end. This guy, whose name is Josie, he has a massive crush on Fudge Girl, who works at the fudge shop. The two of them embark on a mission to get Josie to talk to Fudge Girl, and then things come about. Maybe they're not just friends. So I found this really cute. There's also a goat in this one, so I think my reading in October has some kind of goat theme, except in this one the goat's angry and not so adorable. But I did really enjoy this one. I love the friends to lovers thing. Deja is also bisexual, which I really appreciated. There was a lot of talk or representation on that on the page as well, so I really like that. I did kind of question it a bit because she's one of those bisexual characters who has dated a lot of people, and that tends to crop up a lot with bisexual characters, but it's fine. It was done respectfully, so it was okay. I did really enjoy this book. It was really fast paced and it was perfect to read on Halloween. I'll probably be rereading it again next year just because it was really enjoyable and cute and such a fast read. I really enjoyed the illustrations as well. The art style, if you can tell, is just really cute and clean, and I really enjoyed the colours as well. So that was that one. I'm going to give this one 4 stars. So these, as well as the ebooks and audiobooks, are all the books that I read in October. Like I said, I'm back in my reading groove now, which I really am enjoying. I read some really good books as well. I didn't give any books 2 stars, I don't think. So October was a really good reading month, and I hope that carries on into November. So thank you all so much for watching my video. If you have done an October wrap up, let me know in the comments below and I can come and check it out. Let me know what your favourite book of October was, because I would love to know. Mine was probably the Bone Houses, I think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.